I do not like realism, let alone hyperrealism. And when I say realism, I mostly mean photorealism, where you copy a photograph and try to make your drawings look as close to that photograph as possible. Now, there is a bit of a difference between realism, photorealism, and realistic art, and I will explain that difference in a moment. So, there was a time when photorealism was the only kind of art I was making, and I used to really enjoy it. The best compliment anyone could give me was that my drawings looked like a photograph. I was never amazing at it, but that was the goal I was working towards. So I completely understand the satisfaction that comes from photorealism or hyperrealism. It takes a lot of skill to make a drawing or painting that doesn't look like a drawing or a painting. It takes a huge amount of time and patience, and if you manage to capture the likeness accurately, it also feels very rewarding. But the thing is, photorealism doesn't really require much creativity or decision making. And I believe creativity and decision making are way more important for an artist than just copying. It might be a hot take, but that's what I believe. Realism is the first step of learning art. The first skill you learn as an artist is to draw what you see. That is the base upon which every other skill is built. It doesn't matter what kind of art you want to make, anime, cartoons, or maybe your own original art style. You must first learn to copy. You need to learn realism. Every single art fundamental comes from the real world. Values, perspective, or anatomy. If you want to get good at them, you have to study from life. And for that, you need to learn to copy. But here is the problem. Most people stop at this stage. I don't know what the final stage of art is, or if there even is one, but I believe realism is just the beginning. And stopping at this first stage is something I personally cannot agree with. There is so much art to explore, so much artists and styles to learn from. Choosing to stay in that comfort zone, your first stage, just feels limiting to me. It's something that I could never do. Let's say you get very good at photorealism. Now you can copy any picture you want with perfect accuracy. What does that actually mean? Does it mean you fully understand the fundamentals of art? Not necessarily. Your ability to recreate a photo has nothing to do with your understanding of the fundamentals. And I would say most photorealism artists are actually pretty weak in fundamentals. How do I know? Because I used to be one. I could copy a reference accurately, my values were good, proportions were correct, but the moment you took away the reference, I was lost. Maybe I could draw an eye or a nose from memory, but if you asked me to draw a full face, I couldn't do it. Why does that happen? Because when you copy something one-to-one, you are not really thinking about it. You are not analyzing form, structure, light, or perspective. So your brain learns only one skill, copying. And the moment the reference disappears, your art falls apart. Realistic art, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily mean photorealism. It simply means art that looks realistic. I don't dislike realistic art as an idea. There are many amazing artists who make amazing realistic works that is not photorealism. One of my favorites is Jono Try. His drawings look hyper-realistic, but they are not photorealism. He is not just copying, he is creating. And that's what I think art is supposed to be, creating something new from what already exists. Now, how is realism different from photorealism or realistic art? Realism as an art movement began in the 19th century. The goal was to paint real life accurately, without romanticizing or idealizing the subject. But realism was never about making the artwork look like a photograph. It was about the subjects themselves, ordinary life, normal people, real environments. You can look at realist paintings and clearly tell they are paintings. And in those times, there were no cameras, so capturing real life with paint had a purpose. There were also political and philosophical reasons behind it, but you get the idea. Realism still has value today, maybe less than it did 200 years ago, but it still has a place. However, I realized a few years ago that it's not for me. I have loved drawing for as long as I can remember. As a kid, I used to draw my favorite anime and cartoon characters from TV. I drew some of them so many times that I could draw them from memory. Goku from Dragon Ball was one of the characters I drew the most. I literally knew every fold of his clothes. But then I discovered graphite art and realistic pencil drawings, and that fascinated me. At that time, I didn't know anything about the different kinds of art that existed. I didn't even know about digital art. Realism and fine art were treated like the highest form of art, and people didn't really care about anime or cartoons. Anime is not real art, right? So for me, realism became the goal. I did it for a few years, got a lot of praise in school, and it felt good. Then around 2015, the internet became cheap and easily available in India. Suddenly, everyone could afford it. And with the internet, I discovered YouTube and Instagram. That opened a whole new world for me. Vlog, Guways, Ross Draws, these were the first digital artists I found online, and their art blew my mind. I was inspired, and I wanted to be like them. That's when I decided I wanted to move from copying to creating. I always had ideas and stories in my mind, but I never thought of bringing them to life until that moment. When I saw their art, I wanted to reach that level. So, for the past few years, everything I have studied and practiced has been to reach that stage. I am not there yet. I would say my fundamentals are decent and I am somewhere in that early intermediate phase. The last thing I want to say is this: if you like realism or photorealism and you want to keep doing it, then do it. Don't let some random guy on the internet tell you what you should or you shouldn't draw. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.